Barakatay Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, He maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. This is a direct quote from the book of Revelation 13. And the lesson that the Spirit had me do earlier, Spirit had me mention this, and had me mention about the bombing or the bombings of Japan. And what you're going to find out is that the bombings of Japan, there were a lot more than just two cities that were bombed. But the two major cities that were bombed, or not major cities, well, they were major cities, but the last two that were bombed with atomic bombs. The other ones were just being firebombed. What you're looking at is a still of one of the mushroom clouds in the center. The two, atomic bombs on the left. Fat Boy, I believe that's the bottom one, and I forget what the name of the other one is. And to the right of your screen, you're seeing someone that's dead, that's singed. An ammonite that's singed from the dropping of these bombs, this fire. And pretty much, that's what these devils do. They destroy. They're destroyers. They're not builders. They don't help do anything else but build. They're nothing but parasites, and that's what a parasite does. So we're gonna go through this precept here. Lord's will, it'll be edifying. I got a couple of articles that I put in the description box for those of you that would like to read up on it. This is Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. This is dealing with America. It came up from the earth because it was pretty much resurrected. Because America is the resurrection of the ancient Roman Empire. If you type in online the parallels between America and Rome, you're going to find out a whole lot of similarities between the ancient Roman Empire and the current American Empire, which is Babylon the Great / Rome, / Egypt / Sodom / many other things. And they're established the same way as ancient Rome was established, just in a modern way. Remember, Rome was known as the Iron Empire pretty much, and the reason why was because militarily they were a force to be reckoned with. And America is a force to be reckoned with in these times. Because they have the military might and power. Plus they're backed up by the beast, which is the EU and NATO. Or NATO and the EU. It says, and he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and that was Rome. And causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, because everyone is following behind the ways of ancient Rome. This is why you have the Colosseum. You have the governmental buildings of America stylized like the ancient Roman buildings. The laws that are set up, the Congress that's set up, the presidents mirror the Caesars. So on and so forth. There's many different parallels to it. They were devaluing the currency back then. They're devaluing the currency right now. It says, whose deadly wound was healed. Why? When was a deadly wound healed? During the time of the Renaissance. This is the point here. And he doeth great wonders. Yeah, because this was a great wonder what they did. Why? Because prior to the 1900s, there was no one that was flying in anything. When the Wright brothers, I believe the name was Kitty Hawk, when they did that experiment and that invention of the plane, that revolutionized war for these devils. So that was a great wonder that they've done. And in that great wonder, they will go up. When they finally got the planes in World War One, they will go up, had shotguns on the planes, shooting at each other, the Red Baron, so on and so forth. Then they started mounting weapons onto the airplanes. And then eventually, they started Little Boy and Fat Man. The water, brother, the water. And eventually, they created the ability for these planes to drop bombs. So the first wonder was that they were able to fly up in the air, which no other empire, was able to accomplish or achieve that. Now everybody else got planes and they're flying, but the first place that came from was from America. The first place that built skyscrapers, America. Everything is centered around America, which is the revival of the ancient Roman Empire. All other nations mimic America like they did back then during the ancient Roman Empire. So it says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. And this is what they did. When you look at photos and you look at old footage, they actually recorded this, where they actually, from the moment that they dropped the bombs, Little Boy and Fat Man, from the plane, I'm not sure which one it was, which bomb it was, but you had the Enola Gay was one of the planes that was flown that dropped one of these two bombs. I'm not sure which one it was. So this is something that they have recorded. And it's pretty much a crime against humanity. But that's what the devil does. So when we read down here in the different translations, the NLT says he did astonishing miracles, even making fire flash down to the earth from the sky while everyone was watching. And that's exactly what they did. And it's funny because they even have the technology. They even got to the ability to have the technology to actually film this. So you have actual footage of this stuff. And it performed great. This is the NIV. And it performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of the people. Right. And it performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of the people. That's right. So these different versions get a little more specific, but then in other scriptures, when it deals with color and other stuff like that, they totally botch it up. But in a lot of precepts that we bring out, they nail it. It goes in depth. This is a ESV. It performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people. And you see that. You should be able to find the footage if you look on YouTube. This is the CSB. It also performs great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to earth in front of people. And it goes on and on and on. And the point is that they're up in the sky. How did they get up in the sky? Are they Superman? Do they have a cape? No. Pretty much the way they did it was through planes, the technology that was given to them by the Most High. And that technology that was given to them was also given to them according to the book of Daniel 12:4, where it says knowledge shall increase. It says that they will go to and fro. See, back in the ancient world, you had to travel by foot, by horse and buggy, by horse, by ship, meaning, a boat or a ship, Nowadays, all of that is cut in a fraction of the time by being able to fly, whether it's helicopter, planes, jets, Concords, huge jets, like the president's jet, what is that called? Now, the car is called the Beast. The jet is called Air Force One. So this is all the technology the Lord gave them to be able to do this. Right, and that's what the lesson is about. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as a brother put, never thought about how they make fire come down from heaven. That's deep. That's the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. This is what was taught to us of our elders, and it made sense. So we're just returning the favor and Barakateh Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for all of the, inspiration and insight to this truth. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go here. This is from Los Alamos National Laboratory, National Security Science. I put this in the description box for those of you that want it. It's dated December 12, 2019. It says the anatomy of a mushroom cloud, the different, sometimes odd effects of nuclear tests. And pretty much it goes through a basic naming of the different components of the nuclear blast. The first one, as you see here, this is what they call a mushroom cloud. When the prophets saw this in the past, they described it as a scroll being rolled within a scroll. Because when you look at certain mushroom clouds, it looks like when you look at a scroll, the scroll is rolled up. And when you look at it, it said that the clouds are rolled together like a scroll. And what caused that? The blast and the force of the blast and that whole dynamic of how the blast and the air and everything goes. I'm not an expert in nuclear fission or nuclear, destruction or whatever, but just the mere look of a mushroom cloud, and the description of how the prophets described it as being, the heavens rolled together as a scroll. Now, I'm not sure if that's the 13th chapter, the same chapter we're in Revelation, where it says the heavens are rolled together as a scroll, or it might be the 9th chapter. If a brother knows where that scripture is at offhand, they can post it. I know there's one in Isaiah 34, but there's another one in Revelation. All right, so as we read down, it says, this is by Eileen Patterson. It says, think nuclear weapon, and you probably picture a mushroom cloud, a stem supporting a puffy head. But photos from U.S. atmospheric nuclear tests 1945 to 1963 show more than the basic stem and head structure. And you can see here, boom. All right. This is taken October 30th, 1951. This is actual footage, an actual picture. This is actual footage, an actual picture. This was taken in 1951, May 8th. The water, brother. It was actually Revelation 6 and 13. Matter of fact, bro, I'm glad you actually commented, because I've been wanting to let me see if I could find it. I've been wanting to give you a wrench, my brother. You asked for it a while back, but I really didn't know you like that, my brother. So I just, the spirit is on me to do that. And I was thinking about it earlier. Said if this brother comments, if I remember, I'm going to make him a moderator. That brother does good videos. I'm a one I bought, 144. So Revelation 6:13, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs. So this is how the destruction is going to come, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Right, and that is a mighty wind. When you look at the picture of a mushroom cloud, it is a mighty wind, and that's what causes everything to roll together so tightly. And as you go through the descriptions, it brings that out in these descriptions. It says, when it is shaken of a mighty wind, all right, this the 14th verse goes on to say, and the heaven departed as a scroll. I know another brother put the rest of the verse. When it is rolled together, see, when you look at a scroll and you roll it together and you compare it to a so-called mushroom cloud, it shows you that this one is not really that detailed in it, But and I wasn't trying to sound English either when I said in it. In it meaning inside of it. It says when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their place. Why? Because of the nuclear blast. There's going to be a lot of devastation happening in that day. It says, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every freeman hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. Right, and because these different international banking families, which control all of these large corporations, military men, top brass, scientists and doctors and different, senators and presidents and, mighty so-called ruling class men of this earth are going to go into these different bomb shelters around the world. And some of them are going to escape the blast because they're going to be the first crop of slaves. So you're going to have the international banking families like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Gettys, the DuPonts, the Oppenheimers, the Merovingians, all of them, they're going to be in captivity. But you're going to also have top congressmen, top rulers among these different nations going into captivity too. Top military brass that never go out to war, even though some of them did in their younger years. They're going to go into captivity. All right. So going back to the article, right? It says, and this one is a little clearer where you can see the heavens rolled together as a scroll. And then there's blasts that go all the way up into the clouds. So like I said, we read that. It says the basic mushroom. The iconic mushroom cloud begins as a fireball, a luminous bubble of extreme hot air and vaporized weapon residues. The fireball rises like a hot air balloon, pulling air, water, vapor, and debris into its base to form the mushroom stem. That's the part that goes up, right? As the fireball rises, it cools, losing its glow, and the vaporized material and water vapor condense and spread, forming the mushroom head, as you can see here. This one is a little more detailed. As you can see, if you look at a scroll when it's being rolled up, this is a little better depiction of it. And the glow comes from the fire of the nuclear blast. But as the air moves, it starts to cool off the fire, and this is where you get that cloud of smoke, so to speak. And this was taken February 28, 1954, Bikini Atoll. And these are actual pictures. They actually have actual footage. Then you have the caps, a test with explosive power measured in megatons, the equivalent of millions of tons of TNT, produce a cloud that rose rapidly about 300 miles an hour to great heights, pushing warm water vapor ahead of it. In the high, cold altitudes, the water vapor froze, forming one or more caps, ice caps, as you can see here. This is an actual picture, June 9, 1962, near Christmas Island. You have skirts and bells. Some tests produce skirts or bells, cone-shaped phenomenon descending along the mushroom stems. These occurred when the dropping pressure and temperature of the high altitude caused humid air around the stem to condense into water droplets heavy enough to fall. Just bear with me 1 second and you can see another picture. Bear with me 1 second. And it goes on and on and on. Lines and, so on and so forth. Fake mushroom. It goes into different types of bombs, whatever, blasts and all that. So the next one I want to get into is this one here. I'll put this in the description box. These are 67 Japanese cities firebombed in World War II. While watching the movie The Fog of War, this is a transcript. You could actually read the transcript of the movie, which is Robert S. McNamara's commentary about his involvement in, among other things, World War II and the Vietnamese War. I was shocked to hear him say that before the dropping of the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945, they got a video here you could click on, under the command of General Curtis Lee May, United States B-29 planes firebombed using napalm a jellied gasoline 67 Japanese cities. So Hiroshima and Nagasaki are two of the most common. But there were 67 Japanese cities that were actually bombed during this time. The Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings were actual atomic bombs. These were just regular bombs that were dropped, firebomb, napalm. And as they got a saying, napalm sticks to kids. And you see that, and that's a joke. But look at this. You know, look at you know, you have pictures, you have actual footage of a girl running down the street on, you know, not on fire, but her skin melted off of her. So these devils got a lot to pay for, man. It says McNamara's comment on the bombing was this. Lee May said that if we'd lost the war, we'd all have been prosecuted as war criminals. And I think he's right, says McNamara. He and I'd say I were behaving as war criminals. Lee May recognized that what he was doing would be thought immoral if his side lost. But what makes it immoral? If you lose, and not immoral if you win, because it's still immoral whether you lose or win. It's the way that it was done. That's why in Isaiah 14:4 it says that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how have the oppressors ceased, the golden city ceased, because they're going down. Their power is being broken down. Babylon is a code name, which is Babylon the Great, is a code name for America. This chapter here in Isaiah 14 does not fit the ancient Babylonian Empire. It says the Lord had broken the staff of the wicked, because the ancient Babylonians, although you had wicked among them, they were not the wicked. The wicked is identified in the scriptures as the Edomites. And the scepter of the rulers. What is the staff and the scepter of the rulers? Meaning their power. And the Lord is breaking them down. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. And this is, he smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He found a new toy, which is his blessing, the sword, and he firebombed these people. At the penalty of what? Nothing. Because nothing ever happened. The only thing that happened was they gave the Japanese families that were put in concentration camps in America, they gave them $20,000 per family or something like that. Salaki for a minute. So it goes on to say, he who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. That means constant oppression. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. Because all nations, including us, we're going to be the first in line. But all these other nations are going to put their foot deep in Esau's ass when this devil goes down. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Why? Because when you go down, everyone is going to rejoice. Because when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. But when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. So that's how we know that the people that are ruling are not righteous, because the whole world is in a state of mourning. All right. And you can read the rest of it. I just wanted to get that point. So let's go back. Oh, and then this other one, Habakkuk 1 and 3. Why dost thou show me iniquity and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me. And we see spoiling and violence before us. I mean, you couldn't even, I don't think you could actually sit down in one sitting and call out all of the atrocities of these devils, these Edomites. It says, and there are that raise up strife and contention. It says, therefore the law is slacked. And why is the law slacked? And judgment doth never go forth. And you see it time and time again. They judge people, but they're never judged. People pay for their crimes, but they never pay. Why? For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. Because they're in this authority seat. Now we know that the Japanese, which are Ammonites, are not the righteous, but you do have Israelites among them. But the point is that the wicked are in authority, and that's why wrong judgment proceedeth. And they even recognize that in this article, in that movie, whatever the movie was, The Fog of War, that they should be held as war criminals. While McNamara talks about the firebombing in the movie, there is a very fast sequence of frames in which the bombed Japanese cities are named, with a comparison of the size of the Japanese city to a U.S. equivalent, plus a percentage of the Japanese city destroyed. To get all this information, I had to advance the DVD frame by frame, otherwise the whole thing shoots by you in a blur. Below is the information. Remember, 67 Japanese cities. So we have here name of Japanese city firebombed, percentage of the city destroyed, equivalent in size to the following American cities. So the Japanese city was named, that was bombed, firebombed, the percentage that was destroyed in the center, and in this last column is all of the equivalent American cities that were the same size as these cities. So you have Yokohama, 58%, Cleveland, Tokyo, 51%, New York, Toyama, 99%, Chattanooga, so 99, almost 100% of this city was destroyed. Nagoya, 40%, Los Angeles, Osaka, 35.1%, Chicago, Nishinomiya, 11.9%, Cambridge, Siumoneseki, 37.6, San Diego, Curry, 49.1, Toledo, Kobe, 55.7, Baltimore. You have Omuta, Miami, Wakayama, Salt Lake City, Kawasaki, Portland, Okayama, Long Beach. So you continue on, and it gives you this different Japanese cities that were bombed, the percentage that was destroyed, and the American cities that are close to the size of that city. And you can see the list goes on and on and on. Fukuyama, Macon, Aomori, Montgomery, Okazaki, Lincoln, Oita, St. Joseph, so on and so forth. All the way down. So this devil got a lot to pay for. And then on top of all of this, then they dropped the atomic bombs, Little Boy and Fat Man, I believe they were called, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which ended the war. So these devils got a lot to pay for, man. And then you have a picture here of a map of Japan and the different places where they bombed. This was a strategic strike. So these devils, boy, and then this is just a small portion of all of the wickedness that these devils have done. Here at Nara, Boston, Sioux, Topeka, Kuwana, Tucson, Toyohashi, Tulsa, Numazu, Waco, Utsunomiya, Sioux City, Mito, Pontiac, Sedai, Omaha. Come on, man. That's why it says that the whole world is going to be at rest when these devils go down. So that's what the scripture in Revelation 13:13 means. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh the fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And everything else that happened after that goes right back to this scripture. When they drop bombs on these different cities around the world, it all goes back to this, because they have the power to create these great wonders, to drop fire from heaven upon the people of the earth. So pretty much with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified, and you few sisters. Till the next time I say shalom.